Hello and welcome to episode 3 of The Gathering, a Magic podcast with Jack
Kole.
and today we're going to be going over the Modern Horizons 3 spoilers. Now, we've seen a lot of really fucking crazy cards. I apologize to all the children out there. And I'm super excited. I've seen some crazy stuff that has got me really interested in uh, modern, legacy, and even commander. But let's just jump right into it. Cole, what's the card that you're most excited out of all these spoilers?
Oh, that's a good question. I think I am most excited for Sylvan Safekeeper, which if we want to just dive right into
Ooh,
this, it looks like they leaked a bunch of cards today. And instead of just
let's
keeping it
do it.
hush hush, Magic came out with an article addressing it, giving us high res images. So a little tantalizing sneak peek of what is to come. Let's go ahead and scroll down to my favorite card of the set so far, which is Sylvan Safekeeper. 1 green, 1/1.
Legacy
Sack a
Stapler.
land. Target creature you control gains Shroud until end of turn. I love creature combo decks. Anything to make a creature combo deck a little bit better, I am down for. This is tutorable with Imperial Recruiter, Ranger Captain Vios. It's, a good play, good-ish play on turn one in Heliod and Devoted Druid decks, and I'm also excited for this in Amalia combo as well, um, as something to be potentially played with in Modern. So I'm liking this card a lot. Definitely my pet card of the set so far.
Super, super excited for this card. I think this card was already legal in Legacy, if I'm not mistaken.
Hmm.
Um, This card is amazing. I've seen this card do some crazy, crazy things in mom decks. For
Right.
those of you who don't know, Mother of Runes is a one white mana 1/1 that can tap to give any creature protection with the color of its choice. So Mom is the nickname because it's Mother of Runes. Mom plus Safekeeping, they protect each other like indefinitely. It's like no way you can ever kill a mom if you have a Safekeeper down.
Yeah, good stuff. So that's what I'm excited about. What about you, man?
I'm just like in. I can't believe that they gave us Kappa Cannoneer in Modern.
Mm,
There's a lot of other cards that I'm super excited for, but I think that's the most impactful card, like right out of the gate. Affinity, like I guarantee you, Urza High Artificer is gonna like go up like 50, if not 100%, because this card just got leaked. For those of you who don't know, Kappa Cannoneer is a 6 mana artifact creature. It's a 6 mana 4/4 with Improvise. So you can tap an untapped artifact, non-creature artifact that you control to reduce its cost by one colorless
mm.
uh, per artifact tapped. It has Ward 4, and whenever it or another artifact enters the battlefield under your control, you put a 1/1 counter on Kappa Cannoneer and it can't be blocked. So in an affinity decks, you just play a bunch of thought casts and redraws, and then you just cast all your affinity spells for free. It gets huge, and it swings in for lethal. Card is crazy.
Yeah, this card's cracked. Uh, Ward 4 is very, very good. It's also 6 mana, so, you know, some more cards we'll probably talk about later on don't hit it. And it's
Yeah.
just gonna be very good. It's you're gonna die a lot to Kappa Cannoneer in Modern, so might as well come prepared with your pick your poisons and hope that that's enough, but more likely than not it won't be, because there will be plenty of artifacts around. So I'm interested to see kind of what the modern format does to adapt to Kappa Cannoneer, especially since it is so hard to deal with, and the
It's a
only
legacy
real
staple. It's
yeah, the only real way that I see you dealing with Kappa Cannoneer is with like rats or like a destroy all artifacts effect, which
which is a perfect segue into the next card that we'll be talking about, which is Meltdown. If you just
mm,
scroll up a little bit, Cole,
yeah, right here.
Meltdown is being slotted in. If you want to read Meltdown,
Yeah, so Meltdown is X and a red for a sorcery that destroys each artifact with mana value X or less. So, this card does not do well against Kappa Cannoneer, for the record. Kappa Cannoneer is very expensive, 6 mana, so you'd have to pay 7 mana to kill your Kappa Cannoneers. However, this can help you kill everything else in the meantime, before that Kappa Cannoneer hits the ground. So this card's going to be good. Um, it'll be also hilarious
yeah, it'll help.
if like they ever unban the artifact lands. Although seeing this set it makes me more and more doubtful that they're actually going to unban those artifact lands because they're really leaning into some of those powerful artifact synergies. And I think that they're
Definitely.
justifying that power level increase by that typal artifact, type line that can, in theory is easier to interact with. So yeah,
Yeah. And I'm
yeah.
and I'm super excited for like Meltdown being in the format because there's some cards that you just want to be able to answer, and it doesn't, you're right, it doesn't scale all the way up to Kappa Cannoneer, but you're right, it definitely does like clear the ground of like the chaff that would help build.
Mm,
And I'm just excited to see it reprinted because I think that card was expensive. I could be wrong.
yeah, I'm
Um,
excited. That's gonna be a good one. What else do we
oh,
need
can we
to
talk
talk
about the
about here?
Goblin? There was
The
real quick. There
uncommon
was a
goblin.
goblin that we scrolled past.
Yeah,
Yes. Well, I'm a goblin. I have to talk about it.
sure.
Spawn Game Commander's not good, but this will be a commander card.
Well, if you read the
It's
bold
five
here,
mana 2/2
it's a very strong uncommon. I think this is more of like a they're flexing how strong the
draft.
limited is gonna be. Yeah,
Yeah, draft is going to be really cool in this set.
yeah.
And I'm excited just because they're showing us that they are printing Eldrazi goblins, and I hope that they print more than one, because that would be very very fun if I could play Eldrazi goblins in my deck.
Yeah,
And
that's a
so
good
so
point.
sorry. Keep scrolling.
Keep scrolling. Yeah, it's just literally Siege Game Commander, but it's devoid, and you have to pay
And you
colorless to
eh,
do the thing. So
exactly,
yeah,
which
very
is great.
interesting twist. They made it uncommon, which makes sense. Let's see, what else do I want to talk about here?
White is
That's like
good.
Ugin's
Soul
Labyrinth
Land is amazing.
is very, very interesting. Ugin's Labyrinth imprint. Or actually, you want to read this card? Go ahead.
Yeah, so Ugin's Labyrinth is a land that has imprint. So when it enters, you may exile a colorless card with mana value 7 or greater from your hand. And if you do, it taps for 2 colorless. If you don't, it taps for a colorless. And then you may tap the land to return the exiled card to its owner's hand. So if you have a Null Drifter, which is one of the cards that they spoiled today, or any of the Eldrazi Titans in your hand and you just can't cast them, you exile it under the land and you have a Soul Land turn 1, which your Eldrazi deck will be amazing. And then late game when you need to cast your Titan or you need that 7 mana Eldrazi back, you have it under there. And if you don't have it, the base level is that it just taps for a colorless, which it used to be in Magic that I remember when I started playing Commander, there was like only 36 colorless lands like that tapped for a colorless, and so if you wanted to play a colorless deck, you actually needed to be rich because you couldn't afford all of the old colorless lands that you would have to buy. And
Mm.
then Wizards started printing a bunch of them so that people could actually play the deck. But this card will definitely be a staple in Commander. However, where I'm interested is if people can play this card in Modern, if you're able to somehow have two 7+ drops in your hand, you can still go Thought Knot on turn 2. You just have to have two Labyrinths and two 7 drops and a Thought Knot Seer. But that
Yeah,
might
I
be
don't think
asking too
this is going to
much.
be hard at all, to be completely honest with you. I think that this is going to immediately go in Tron, and the number of Cityscape levelers will go up. They'll probably go up like a couple copies of Ugin,
Ooh,
and just like cards that are
definitely.
like hittable off of it. Like the upside is the upside is there. Being able to go in your big mana deck, turn one Ugin's Labyrinth, exile a Karn Liberated or a Cityscape leveler from my hand, Chalice on one, and
A
then
card you can't, yeah, a card you can't cast.
it's not legendary, so you can go turn two, Ugin's Labyrinth, exile Karn, play Karn the Great Creator. Like this card is disgusting to me. It really does not seem reasonable, but
It sounds like it's an Eldrazi temple, but it is not just for Eldrazi.
not just for Eldrazi.
And the requirement is that you play a late game, which if you're playing colorless, usually you are.
Yeah,
And then in the early turns when you want the mana advantage, it gives it to you at the cost of a card that you usually can't cast.
yeah,
And in the late game, you lose the mana advantage. You lose the mana advantage, but you get the card back. So you get card advantage, which is what you want later in the game anyways.
yeah, for
So the
sure.
card just plays naturally perfectly.
Well, and like I honestly think now that I'm thinking about it a little bit more, the best home for this deck for this card is actually going to be Affinity because Kappa Cannoneer can't do it,
Mm,
but Thought Monitor I believe believe is 7 mana. Um,
Colorless,
like
yep.
you can just make a deck. Oh, it's a colorless card actually, so that's not true. My bad. Redacted. I take that back.
No, but
It can't be a
everything
colored
else that you
card. So Affinity's
yes,
not gonna
everything
want to
else you
play it,
said was
but yeah.
everything else you said works though. The Eldrazi Titans, Cityscape Leveler, even just like if you're trying to play like just big artifacts, you just go I guess
Chromatic
I was thinking of like
Ori. Yeah, there's a few of them.
I was gonna say it gets harder the higher you go, but it has potential. The roof is insane. You can have a soul land on turn one, and it doesn't give you any mana restriction. It doesn't have to be for anything
Mm-mm.
specific thing. So this will allow you to cast your Blood Moon on turn two. This will allow you to cast you're right, your Chalice on turn one. It'll do all the things that busted colorless decks want. So
Yeah.
that seems great.
Ugin seems great. I want to talk about, or
Discard.
if you want
We
to
have
do,
to. Go ahead.
oh, the
I was gonna say
Synthonian
we gotta come.
Nightmare,
We have to come back to this card.
Chthonian Nightmare. We
So
can
it's
talk about it.
2 mana enchantment. It's when it enters the battlefield, you get 3 energy. You pay X and any amount of energy. You pay X amount of energy. Sacrifice a creature to return this card and to its owner's hand, and then return target creature card with mana value X from your graveyard to the battlefield. Only activate only as a sorcery. So I'm imagining you have a Whirler Virtuoso in play. Okay, and then you play this, or you play this card on turn two, right? You
Mm,
you you play your Whirler Virtuoso on turn three. You have 6 energy. Your opponent shoots your Whirler Virtuoso, right? And you use 3 energy, make a Thopter. It dies. Then you go to your turn. You pay the 3 energy that you got originally from the nightmare.
yeah,
You sacrifice the Thopter. You bring the nightmare back to your hand. You bring the Whirler Virtuoso back, and then the Whirler Virtuoso gives you 3 energy, and then you haven't used any of your mana yet, so you replay your Nightmare, get 3 more energy, and as long as your opponent doesn't have Graveyard Hate, you just always have that 2/3 coming back. And if you have any other cards that give you energy, then you just net cards. You can also you can do this with any card that gives you 3 energy. Um,
well,
but
Whirler
it's
Virtuoso specifically because it gives you a body. You can do that, so you
true.
can like recycle it. This
Um,
card's just good. It's like mini recurring Nightmare, which is banned in
yep.
Commander and Modern, obviously. So I think that
Mhm.
it's just gonna be a fun card to use. Like it just I think the restriction is gonna actually make it more fun in terms of like what the deck building actually does because recurring nightmare you're usually just enabling a busted combo, sack your Stitcher Supplier to put a Trax into play, and then your recurring nightmare returns to your
Yeah.
hand for some bizarre reason and you get to do it again. Um, and with this card,
It's
it's more,
magic.
yeah, with this card, it's more like, okay, on the face level here, we can, sack like a Stitcher Supplier or a whatever that one that like either makes a treasure or gives a creature neg neg whenever it dies. Just like fodder to like get a value play
Yeah.
back. Like imagine like sack a young wolf to bring back a grist from your graveyard and then put this back in your hand.
Or
Like
Yawgmoth,
seems
yeah.
pretty good in Yawgmoth, but it's also like cool because it gives you this energy which doesn't go away. So you get to get in these spots where it's like I might have bigger cost creatures, so I like maybe I do it for one turn, bring it back to my hand, and then I do it for four the next turn, or like five
There
because I
we go.
got three more energy. So it just seems cool. Like it seems like a very neat card, and I don't think you need to build around it in terms of the energy mechanic, but obviously you can.
Yeah. And it seems really fucking sweet.
Yeah, hell
Yeah.
yeah.
I like that. I like it a lot.
Um, Card's very strong. Flare Denial. We had Flare of
Hmm.
Cultivation, which is the rampant growth. You have to sack a non-token creature to rampant growth. This is a counterspell. Sack a non-token blue creature to counterspell. Obviously, I saw this Twitter post, Merfolk players frothing at the mouth, and then it was a picture of this. That's how I feel. Um, I think
Yeah.
Merfolk has been good, and I think you're just gonna hate, you're gonna love slash hate depending on what side you're on, playing against Merfolk with like either four flare denials and force negations, or like them in the board. Like that deck is gonna be really good, and you better come correct. Um, be
Yeah,
scared of the
yeah.
fishes.
I played last week at the NRG playing Modern at Nerd Rage Gaming out in Buffalo Grove. We played Modern, and the two Merfolk players in the 30-person tournament both went 4-0.
There you go. Yeah.
Let me say that again. It was a 30-person tournament. The two people that went 4-0 were the two Merfolk players because they got to play they got to play subtlety,
Yeah.
force of negation, and tidebinder all in the same deck.
Yeah. So at this point, you're gonna have to be like, the problem now is gonna be like you have to have enough merfolk to enable your strategies. You can't just be all subtleties and force negations and flare denials. But maybe you can. Maybe you just go 4-4-4, and then you just play like Tide
Boards.
Shaper and fucking Silver Gale Adept and stuff. It's like, I'm excited about this card.
Yeah.
Not, I don't think there's too much to talk about, but like, yeah, card's gonna
Merfolk's
be good.
really, really good. Yeah, especially with the new the new blue moon.
Yeah, yeah. And then let's talk about.
So
Um, this is a good
you
card.
wanna go over white?
It's just uncommon.
That card's amazing.
Untap colorless. Pay 3 to get any land tapped. Uh, this card's gonna be very good. It seems very good in Coffers decks as well. You can either get Urborg or Cabal Coffers. Extra pieces in like any sort of devotion deck to grab Nykthos. Obviously, it's insane in Commander. Get Gaia's Cradle, Glacial Chasm, all that good stuff. And yeah, this card's cracked. Be on the watch out for interesting combos with Urza's Cave.
Yeah, super excited.
Talk about the first Corgi in Magic. Again, not too much to talk about. One in a white, 2/2 flash. Fila, Exuberant Shepherd, whenever it enters, or I'm sorry, whenever it attacks, exile up to one other target non-land permanent. Beginning of the next end step, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. If it entered the, if it entered your control, put a 1/1 counter on Fila. So Blink, legendary creature commander. I want to build a commander around this card. I want this treatment, and I want to be like, this is my dog commander, and then no one will attack me because I have the goodest boy on my side.
It's so cute. How could they attack you?
Yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I
Honestly,
like that card a lot. I
no
feel
other
like
thoughts for me.
none. Commander, good. Modern,
Yeah. This is funny.
null, no.
There's
Yeah,
so
go
many.
ahead.
There's so many good ones. We could do Null Drifter.
Null Drifter is a 7 mana Eldrazi Elemental. When you cast this, it's a 7 mana 4/4 with Evoke 3, two colorless and a blue. When you cast the spell, you draw 2, flying, and Annihilator 1. I just wanted to say, this shows they're bringing Annihilator back.
It
What
has
do you think,
Evoke
Cole?
though. Evoke 2 and a blue, so it can it Mold Drifters.
Yes. And it's on cast too, so it's not an ETB,
That
so
is true.
it doesn't get turned off. It doesn't get turned off by your opponent's Elish Norn. So
Yeah,
you're evoking the Mold Drifter still works.
that's a good point. So trade-off there is cast means counter magic. Like nothing can really interact with that unless you stifle it. But then it doesn't combo with any of like the ephemerate stuff. So you can like cast it for evoke, draw 2 cards, ephemerate it to get a 4/4. But I think they did this templating on purpose so you don't like evoke it, draw 2 cards, and then ephemerate it, draw 2 more cards. I think that's a way for that
And still have
to
a
be
4/4
fixed.
and still have a 4/4 with Annihilator.
Yeah. Yeah, this card's cool. It gives me it's a rare, but it gives me Ulamog's Crushers vibe, which I know that's
Yes.
a common, but that's what it gives me, and then it just has a Mold Drifter slapped on it, so pretty cool.
Yeah. And that's I would say that's the perfect card to go under the Ugins is it Ugins Nexus? Ugins Labyrinth.
Uber's Labyrinth, yeah. Yeah, great point.
Oh,
Don't
this
want to talk
card's
about this
crack.
card. Is it good though? I don't think it's good at all.
So it's 9 mana for a 6/6, and its emerge cost is 8. When you cast a spell, you may exile your hand. If you do, draw 3 cards. Flying, and each creature spell you cast has emerged. Their emerge cost is equal to its mana cost. So I'm thinking you're playing a colorless Eldrazi deck, and you're like somehow you're ramping like a Thought-Knot Seer or Reality Smasher into play,
Hmm.
and then you're casting this, and it's gonna be like 3 mana. You're gonna draw your deck, or you're gonna draw a new hand, and then the way I'm seeing this goes is once you have like this into play, if you have one other big Eldrazi in play, you just like emerge big Eldrazi into big Eldrazi, and then it's like
Mm.
kind of pseudo cascade because you'll be like sack a 7 drop, cast a 7 drop,
Well,
sack a 7 drop, cast
it
a
can
six
emerge
drop.
itself technically. So you can go like
Mm-hmm.
cast Aeon's Torn for 6 mana, which seems pretty good.
Yep. Yep. And then like if you just have like a bunch of other similar or lesser costed Eldrazi, you can just go cast this one and this one and this one. And if they all have cast triggers, then it's worth it. But otherwise, don't even listen to what I'm saying. But
Yeah. Seems
I
good.
think it's
Seems
cool.
interesting. I think it's definitely an aspiring spike brew that I'm gonna want to tune in on for sure. Let's talk
Definitely.
about Kudo, King Among Bears. Green white 2/2. Other creatures have base power and toughness 2/2 and are bears in addition to their other types.
This card
This is
is
just so
so
good
good.
design. Like this is the type of power
I think
level that I want to see Wizards
they
exploring
hated
in the
out.
future.
So first off, can we talk about how they made it? They made a hate bear that's literally called a bear. It's
Do you,
so good.
oh my
This
goodness,
is how
I can
this
see if I can pull it up on
this is
Twitter. But yeah, the person who designed it was on Twitter and they were like, they gave me a prompt and the prompt said, make a hate bear. And that was like the guy just like quoting what he did at Wizards. I'm like, that's so cool, dude. You
to
love
be
to see it.
fair, this card single-handedly destroys rhinos.
Mm,
Like you play this, and then you make a bunch of like 1/1s, and your 1/1s are 2/2s,
yeah.
and then your opponent's like, I'm gonna cascade in my rhinos, and you're like, okay, you also have 2/2s.
Yeah, true.
Like
Let's see if I can
it
find
just
it.
feels so strong.
Yeah,
Emrakul the Aeon's Torn is a 2/2. Um,
yeah, true.
Atraxa is a 2/2. Like I will
Yeah.
say, however, the one deck that this does not hate on is Goblins.
Or
This is a
Merfolk.
strict upgrade.
Yeah,
Or
anything that
Merfolk, that's fair.
lords or gives counters to, you're exactly right. Yeah, and it buffs like if you're playing against Convoke or oh, you know what though? That's another cool thing. You could play it as a buff to your own 1/1s. You could play like tokens. This could be your green
There
white
we go.
tokens commander, and then all your 1/1s are
You
2/2
go.
bears. That's like cool,
You
actually cool.
turns your Noble Hierarch into a 2/2
Yeah.
that attacks alone for 3.
Oh yeah, Ben White's. That's the guy who designed uh
Shout out to Ben White, Rockstar.
Ben Wheats, I think his name is. Yeah, he said, let's see, most elegant card I have ever or will ever design releases in 2024. Very excited for it to be released, and that was in January 28 of 2024. And then he spoils this card, and and his quote is, the prompt was design a hate bear, by the way. So
So good.
the designers at WotC know what they're doing. You have to sort of have to have faith. Let them do their
Definitely.
thing. Let them cook.
And if anyone was really scared of rhinos, right? That's the card that answers rhinos. This card in Commander is going to make people cry.
In
Cole,
Commander,
Cole, somebody,
also in Modern as well. One colorless, like
somebody instant.
specifically colorless
Yes.
mana for an instant. Counter target multicolored spell or destroy target multicolored permanent. Null elemental blast. Um, I want to really quickly look up Line of the Guild Pact and
Oh yeah, baby.
see.
That
Does
is
that make
exactly what it does.
Hello?
It
hello?
does what you think it does. What's up?
Yo, what's good?
Oh,
Well,
it's non-land permanents,
welcome
draw
to
colors. I see.
welcome to the Gathering, a Magic podcast.
Oh, what's
Yo,
up, Frederick?
I
We're
saw the two
going.
of you, and I had to say hi
Mm-hmm.
before
Yeah,
Maya goes to bed.
absolutely, man. How you doing?
Okay.
What are you two watching or looking up?
We're actually recording a Magic podcast for some Magic spoilers.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, you're
No,
good,
no,
dude.
no, no, no
It's like
worries.
super.
We edit. We
It's episode 3, so you're welcome to
Episode
pop
and we
in.
just
3?
started
Yeah, it's
Oh,
very
wow.
good.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, we're just
and
getting it
we
out
Oh,
edit, so
there.
you're good. So don't even worry.
where are your previous videos? Are they on Spotify or anything?
They're on YouTube. If you
So
click on the
They're on
Magic the
YouTube.
Gathering text channel there in this Discord, you'll see the
Oh,
link to Jack's.
wait.
It's the
Where?
second.
How do I find it?
Are you on your phone?
No, I'm not.
So on the left-hand column there, there'll be the lobby,
Yeah,
and then there'll be the text chats right above it. Click on Magic the Gathering, and then it's that second most recent post.
second most recent. I see.
Goblin Ringleader is the name of
Some
the
of
Yeah,
YouTube
yeah,
channel.
I
some
see
of
it.
it's my stuff. Yeah, so some of it's my stuff, and then there's a podcast me and Cole do together, and then like yeah, it's just like random magic stuff. So
Yeah, it's quirky. It's a good
Coolio.
time.
Nice, nice, nice. What are you filming today or recording or talking about?
We're talking about
Like,
spoilers. So they leaked a bunch of cards, and
oh,
so we'll
new
be
set coming out or what?
new set for Modern specifically, and for Commander and stuff, obviously. But yeah, so that'll be fun.
Coolio.
I think
And
we
any
should wrap it up. Let's wrap up the pod. Let's say we'll talk about the rest of these later. Um,
definitely, yeah.
but yeah, this has been good.
So here I'll do the outro real quick, and
Yeah,
then
do it.
we'll do a part two for spoilers.
Yeah, do it. Do it.
So thank you guys for listening and tuning in. This has been the Gathering of Magic podcast, episode 3 with Jack
Cole, bye now.
and special guest
And special guest Richard popping in.
Richard. Woo!
Hell yeah.
Richard. And I hope you guys have a nice night. Stay safe and stay hydrated.